Oh, what do we do with the law? I feel like the law, L-A-W, the law, I feel like it just gets a bad rap. Like I know. I've read Paul, and we're no longer under the law, we're under grace. But the law isn't all that bad. Maybe this is just me as a middle child trying to fight for the overlooked part of the story. But my goodness, the way we talk about the law as Christians that are following Jesus, it's strange. It's even more strange to me the way we talk about, we just got rid of the law, we're done with the law because it's not grace. It's like Jesus even says in Matthew chapter 5, I did not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. I don't think we understand what the law is, and therefore I don't think we understand how to treat it. Now, a lot of us appeal to Paul when it comes to the law. Romans chapter 6, verse 14, for sin shall no longer be your master because you're not under the law, but under grace. And we think that because we are not governed by the law, under the law, that therefore we can just throw it away, like it is purposeless, meaningless, doesn't matter. That's actually not what Paul totally says. Yeah, that's Romans 6:14. But listen to what he says in Romans chapter 7, verse 12. So then, the law is holy, and the commandment is holy, righteous, and good. So which is it, Paul? Are we no longer under the law and therefore get rid of it? Or is the law holy and righteous and good? It's somewhere in the middle. You see, the law's purpose was never meant to do what the cross did. You see, if we have this equation, you have humanity who's created holy, then we fall, we are broken. Humanity then is in need of a savior, in need of a rescuer. The law was never meant to be that savior. The law's purpose was to be the flashlight, the illumination. As a matter of fact, if we have humanity plus law equals ? The broken part of that equation, as Paul points out in Romans 7, is not the law. The broken part of the equation is us. See, our major problem with the law is that we've been looking at it to do something it was never meant to do. It was never meant to be our redemption. The law was never meant to be the cross. The law was never meant to be the atoning sacrifice. However, the law does have a role. And it's strange to me that we get angry at the law for not playing the role that we long for it to play, save us, instead of being thankful for the role it did play. It'd be almost like getting angry at a flashlight because it isn't the sun. Like, the flashlight has something to do with dispelling darkness, but the flashlight cannot transform the entire world around us into a glowing illuminescence, into a glowing moment where we can not only see all, but all can see us. That's what the sun does, S-U-N. But a flashlight? It merely points out where the path actually is. It does not pave the path for us to walk. As a matter of fact, what's fascinating to me is that we don't even understand that the giving of the law by God was a gift of grace. It was a speaking into existence, a gracious moment of revealing who He is. You see, the law was never meant to transform you. The law was meant to give you a picture of the image of God you were created in, but your sin hides you from. There are certain moments throughout the Bible that are striking because the limitless God allows Himself to be limited enough for us to engage Him. One of those moments is creation. The limitless God, the infinite God, creates space and time so that we can interact with Him, so that we can know Him. One of those moments is Jesus becoming flesh. The limitless God chooses to become limited so that we can know Him, so that we can engage Him. One of those moments is in Exodus chapter 3. Whenever the name of God is given to us, the limitless God able to be contained in a name. Why? So that we can know Him, so that we can engage Him. And the law is the exact same way. You see, the blessed gift of the law comes in the fact that until that moment in Exodus chapter 20, the people of the world did not know God clearly. They intuited, they strived for, but they did not know. And think about that. If you're trying to please a parent or you're trying to please a boss whom you love and long for, but you don't know what they want, you don't know who they are, wouldn't it be nice if eventually they just sat you down and said, here's who I am and here's what I want? That was the law. As the nation of Israel coming out of Egypt that was filled with gods that you could tick off at a moment's notice and that you could accidentally please. However, all of them were shrouded in the darkness. Coming out of Egypt, the people of Israel were asking this question, who are you and what do you want? And on Mount Sinai, God gave the answer. Here are 10 things that don't just remind you of what I desire and demand, but this is who I am. It's the reason why that as Christ gives us the atoning sacrifice and as the Spirit begins to unearth in us, that then we start to produce what's called the fruit of the Spirit. And I love how Paul describes it. He says, against such things, talking about the fruits of the Spirit, there is no law. Why? Because you've become the very thing that the law revealed. You see, in Romans chapter 7, verse 12, Paul is not contradicting himself when he says that the law is holy, the commandment is holy, righteous, and good. No. Paul is revealing the purpose of the law in the equation of our brokenness. The law was never meant to transform. It was meant to reveal. And by God's grace, we had the law that ultimately allowed the law to be fulfilled or completed with the atoning, transforming sacrifice of Jesus. This week, this is what I want you to do. I want you in your prayer time to give thanks to God for the law. Not for legalism, not for rules, but for the law that revealed him to us, that revealed us to us, so that ultimately, whenever Christ came, we were prepared to receive the full gift of grace. I love you guys. I'll talk to you next week.